So you are about to do notes on angle relationships. So what you need is you'll need your foldable, you'll need 6 color pencils, and your piece of paper that you're going to end up gluing this onto, so, or your notebook, whatever you have. So first off, I'm just going to title this page as angle relationships, and this is, important so we know what we're doing. So I'm entitling this angle relationships. And so the first thing we're going to do is some definitions, just to make sure we understand things prior to. So the first definition we're going to do, like in everything I write, you're writing, parallel lines is our first definition. Okay. Pause as you need to make sure you're down. So parallel lines, there are 2 lines that never intersect. Okay? And so if we were to draw a picture of this, it would just look like this. And notice these lines will never meet. Sometimes you will see little arrows like this to show that these are parallel. So those arrows mean, oh, those 2 lines are parallel. Okay? Next definition is transversal line. So your transversal line is a line that intersects 2 or more lines. And so therefore, our picture, again, we would start by drawing those parallel lines. And again, we know those are parallel because they have this little piece here showing that they're parallel. But then your transversal line will actually cut those 2. So again, this transversal line is the line that cuts the 2 parallel lines. It necessarily has to be parallel, but the transversal will just always cut through. So again, this is our transversal. Just want to make sure we know. So this here is the transversal line. Okay. So now we're actually done with all of our definitions as far as our journal that we have to write. And now we're actually going to go into our foldable. So when you get your foldable, you probably just have this long sheet of paper that looks like this. So what you're going to do is just go ahead and fold it in. And then you're going to get a piece of some scissors, and you're just going to cut to the edge like this, okay? So I'm actually going to move my notebook. We'll bring it back later. And we're going to go ahead and start with the definition. So we're going to start with vertical angles. And again, remember, feel free to pause whenever you need to. So vertical angles are, they are opposite so they're opposite from each other across the vertex and not adjacent or next to each other. So go ahead and get that down. So again, we're looking at vertical angles. That's our first one. So we have vertical angles. Just writing the definition. They're opposite from each other across the vertex and not next to each other. So again, we're going to open it up. And so we're going to highlight all the examples of them. So again, across from each other, so you have angle 1 and 4. Those are across from each other. So angles 1 and angle 4. That's an example. Another one would be 3 and 2. They're across from each other. Five and 6 are an example. then lastly, angle 7 and 6. So excuse me, this last one should have been 5 and 8. I said 6 and 8. So again, that's 5 and 8, and then 7 and 6. Okay? So those are all of your vertical angles. So again, they're across from each other. So always across from each other, not next to each other. Okay? So let's keep it moving. Next we have, going across here, corresponding angles. So corresponding angles. So our definition is this. These angles match up to one another. In the same location. So think like top left corner, and then they are congruent. So are congruent. And the same thing here, I forgot to say that for vertical angles, they are congruent as well. And that's important. So make sure you get that down. So I'm going to actually highlight the congruent part because that matters when we're finding the angle type. So they are congruent. Okay. And then, so this is our corresponding angles. Again, these are your notes, so make them your own. And so now we're going to open it up. We're going to list all our examples of corresponding angles. So, again, think of them in the same location. So if I'm coloring in angle 2, I want the other angle that's in the same location as angle 2 would be. So here, the only one down here that would look like it's in the same location would be angle 6. So this is the top right corner for both of them. So notice how they're both in the top right corner. Okay, so therefore the same thing would happen with angle 1 and 5. They're corresponding, they match, because they're both in the top left corner. So angle 1 and angle 5. Then, of course, angle 4 and angle 8 are our bottom right corners. And then lastly, angle 3 and angle 7 are the bottom right. So again, you're looking for the matches. You want what matches. So for corresponding angle, I actually want you to write the word matching at the top, so you remember that. We want them to be matching. And then go back to vertical angles. At the top of that, we want to write that they're across from each other. So across, matching. So again, just highlighting what these angles look like in the pairs that they have. Okay? Let's move on to alternate interior angles. So alternate interior angles, so we're right here on this one. So they're opposite sides of the transversal, but inside the parallel lines. So let's think about that. Again, keywords here, opposite sides of the transversal, but the inside the parallel lines, okay? And they are also going to be congruent. So angles are congruent. Good? So again, as I said, whenever things are congruent, I just want to highlight them so we remember that big piece there. They are going to be congruent. So opposite sides of the transversal inside the parallel lines. So we only have two sets of these. So the first set, again, they're inside. So 3 is on the inside, but we want to find the alternate interior, so therefore it has to be on the opposite side of the transversal. Remember, this is our transversal, so the opposite side, but still inside, would be 6. So angles 3 and 6. Okay. And then the other one, inside, the opposite of each other, would be 4 and 5. Okay. And the two words that we want to write for that would be opposite and inside. You want to remember those words, opposite and inside. So those are those. So therefore, if alternate interior are opposite inside, alternate exterior are going to be opposite and outside. So again, opposite sides of the transversal and outside the parallel lines. So again, alternate still means opposite, and then exterior is going to be outside. Okay? And these are going to be congruent. And I want to make sure we take like a pause after this because I want to add something to our notebook. So these are congruent. So we open it up. Again, we only have 2 pairs. So again, starts outside the parallel lines, but they're opposite the transversal. So if we go flip it on the other side and still outside, it's going to be 1 and 8. And again, outside, so that's that exterior, but opposite, which is that alternate, it's going to be 2 and 7. And so therefore, again, alternate, we want to write, that just means opposite, and exterior means outside. So you want to memorize those. So again, I said I wanted to pause and add one more definition to our notebook. So if we go here, I just want to make sure we remember that the word congruent just means equal or the same. And your congruent sign is the squiggly line over top of the equal sign. That's what that looks like. So make sure you know that. And then we can go back to our notes. So now, last 2, we have same side interior and same side exterior. So same side exterior is going to be, so the same side of the transversal. So same side of transversal and outside of the parallel lines. Okay, so that's important. So again, same side of the transversal, but outside of the parallel line. And again, that's important. That's where that exterior comes from. And it's important to know that these angles will be supplementary. And if you remember, supplementary just means equal to 180. So when you add those 2 angles together, they'll be equal to 180. Again, highlight that because that's important when we're finding missing angles. Okay, so if we open this up, we only have 2 pairs. So again, same side, exterior is outside. So outside is here, but same side, outside is here. So angles 1 and 7. And again, looking for outside. So this is outside because it's exterior, but same side. So that's 2 and 8. Okay. So same side is pretty straightforward. It's the same side. The exterior means outside. So make sure we memorize that. So same side and outside. And then lastly, same side interior. Just going to basically write the same thing, but one word will change. So you have same side of the transversal. Okay. And inside of the parallel lines. These angles too will be supplementary. Which means they'll equal 180 degrees. So again, important information. We're going to be on the same side of the transversal, but we're going to be this time inside the parallel lines, not outside, but inside the parallel lines. But together they will still equal 180 degrees, which is going to be important for when we are figuring this out. So again, we're going to open it up. So again, same side is straightforward, but interior is going to mean inside. I'm going to take our two colors. So we're inside the parallel lines, opposite side of the transversal. So we're inside the two parallel lines, opposite side. Oh, excuse me, same side. So this will be 5. So same side, inside. So that's angle 3 and angle 5. So please make sure angle 3 and 5 is what we're highlighting. And then angle 4 and angle 6. There we go. Much better. Angle 4 and angle 6 are the other ones. So again, same side, inside. Same side, inside. Make sure you fix it if you started to do it wrong like me. I apologize. Okay? So these are your notes. Again, make them look however you want them to look. They are yours. So again, whatever's going to help you memorize these. Because it's important to have these all memorized. Okay? So again, go back and pause if you don't understand or whatever the case may be. I'm also going to upload a PowerPoint to your grid. So also look at that PowerPoint if that's better to understand. And then you're just going to take your foldable, your notebook, or whatever your paper is, and you're just going to glue it right on. And so when you glue it, you want it to be able to see all your definitions. So you're kind of like halfway down. I'll move it up like halfway down. So you don't need to put glue on the whole thing. Just put glue on the areas that are going to be glued in. So here, again, get you some glue. So my glue is a little bit clogged up. So you can take you some glue, just a couple of dots. So let's just pretend, boom, 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 boom. You're going to put it in, and then you're going to fold it up so that it can stay inside your notebook. You see that? Fold it up so it can stay inside. And so it'll look like this, where you're able to unfold it and open it up as you need it. Alrighty, so again, make sure you have all this down. These are your angle relationship notes, and this is going to help you in finding missing angles when you're given parallel lines in a transversal.